Ladies and gentlemen, if you can make your way to your seats, the program will begin shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can make your way to your seats, the program will begin shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can make your way to your seats, the program is about to begin. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please make your way to your seats, we would appreciate it. We'll get started. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's get started. We have a very exciting program for you today. Good afternoon, everyone. I have the distinct pleasure of calling to order the Propeller Club of Charleston's annual State of the Port. It's a privilege to welcome you today to our annual State of the Port event, a gathering that underscores the strength of our maritime community here in Charleston and across South Carolina. I want to begin by thanking my fellow Board of Governors, our sponsors, our amazing event planner, Jean Jamay. If you're going to fly, fly first class. I always tell her that. And of course, the South Carolina Ports Authority, and all of you for the gift of your time today. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize and thank the elected officials and representatives that are joining us today at the local, state, and federal levels. Your leadership and unwavering support for South Carolina ports play a vital role in driving economic growth, job creation, and continued investment in our maritime community. We are grateful for your partnership in committing to helping our port and the entire state thrive the way it does. Before we continue, we would like to welcome Clark Cromwell and John Cameron to the stage for our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Thank you, Mike. As Mike said, I'm Clark Cromwell. I'm here on behalf of the Charleston Port and Seafarers, and it's a privilege to come before you and ask a blessing on our gathering and to express gratitude for our meal. Let us pray. We ask your blessing on this gathering that we may gain insight and wisdom about our port and make thoughtful decisions for our maritime community. We ask for your protection of our seafarers all over the world and maritime industry workers as well. Keep them safe as they face challenges in their work. We ask for your presence and comfort to be with those in need of physical or mental healing, including our volunteers, their family members, and fellow workers as they journey toward full recovery. We give thanks to those who helped produce, deliver, and prepare this meal. And as we come together, may we remember the needs of others and be grateful that this meal strengthens us both in body and spirit. Amen.
It's an honor to be invited to represent the veterans in the room and in the port. Thank you for your service. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Clark. John. To keep us on schedule, please enjoy your lunch as we move forward with today's program. The Propeller Club of Charleston supports maritime education, fosters collaboration among industry partners, and connects people and opportunities across the maritime community. This year, we proudly awarded over $20,000 in scholarships to students majoring in supply chain and maritime studies. Please join me in congratulating this year's scholarship recipients. If you're interested in learning more about the Propeller Club of Charleston or other events that we host, please take one of the cards on the table or snap the QR code on that card. We would love to have you as a member to help support these great things that we do. The Propeller Club of Charleston is proud to host today's event, and it wouldn't be possible without our great sponsors. A special thank you to our presenting sponsors for the 11th consecutive year, Container Maintenance Corporation and Truist, to our networking reception sponsor, Charleston Stevedoring Company. We also recognize our annual sponsors for their continued support throughout the year. And of course, a special thank you to South Carolina Ports for everything that they do to support all of our businesses around the state. It goes without saying that they are the reason we are all here today. Thank you for bringing so many customers, partners, and teammates to this year's State of the Port. Your leadership, vision, and collaboration drive the success of our maritime economy and keep South Carolina globally connected. Now, speaking on behalf of all of our sponsors, please welcome Mark Latanzio, Coastal Market President with Truist.
Please continue eating in silence. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. Mike, thank you, and thank you, the entire Propeller Club. Welcome to the 2025 Propeller Club Annual State of the Port's Luncheon. And today, we celebrate the strength of the port, the resilience of the maritime industry, and the partnerships that make it all possible. And Mike's right, this event wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. And those organizations are not only paying for your lunch, but they drive the success of the Port of Charleston and our broader maritime community. So I think it's fitting that we kind of announce our sponsors, and we'll give you a little bit of background on exactly how they impact the port. All right. I want to begin by recognizing our presenting sponsors. First, Container Maintenance. Container Maintenance Corporation is a key player in container services. Vince Marino and the CMC team ensure that the equipment moving through our port is safe, reliable, and ready for the demands of global trade. Their behind-the-scenes work keeps the supply chain flowing smoothly. Alongside CMC, as Mike mentioned, Truist proudly serves as presenting sponsor for the 11th consecutive year. The purpose of Truist is to inspire and build better lives and communities, and they feel that that work is very well connected with the needs of our ports and logistics community. As a financial partner to many in the maritime and logistics sector, Truist brings deep industry knowledge, tailored solutions to grow businesses, help them invest, and navigate through change. I also want to thank Truist partner, which is McGriff Insurance, and McGriff supports the port through specialized marine insurance and risk management solutions. Thank you to Truist and McGriff. Let me ask you all a question. Did you like the reception outside? It's pretty good. Well, let's thank our networking reception sponsor, Charleston Stevedoring Company, and they did a great job. CSC plays a critical role in cargo handling, terminal operations. Their skilled workforce and operational excellence ensure vessels are loaded and unloaded efficiently, keeping our port competitive and customers satisfied. Thank you. And finally, I want to thank there's three premier sponsors, and they're really important, their impact on the port. Charleston Gate Company, providing secure access solutions that protect our port facilities, Gibbs International, bringing global innovation and reach to South Carolina's logistics network, and HDR, leading in engineering and infrastructure that enhances port capacity and sustainability. Finally, please join me in thanking these event sponsors that are too numerous to mention, but you see the names, all of which playing a vital role in supporting the port and its people. Thank you to the event sponsors. To all of our sponsors, thank you, and your continued partnership drives economic growth, creates jobs, and keeps South Carolina connected to the world. Let's continue together, build a stronger, smarter, and a more resilient future for our port and our state. Thank you to all of our sponsors.
Thank you, Mark Lattanzio. We appreciate those great words from you. Now, please enjoy your lunch, and we will return shortly to hear from our South Carolina State Ports Authority CEO and President, Micah Mallace.
Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate everyone coming out today. We're excited to share our message with you, so thank you so much. It was recommended that this being my third week on the job, I should probably introduce myself and let you know a little bit about me. I would tell you personally, I think what the Port team as a whole is doing, and certainly what we as partners in the room are doing together, is far more interesting. So if you don't mind, I'll keep my intro very brief. I was previously at the Port 11 years, primarily on the commercial side. I spent the last 3 years in the private sector in a 3PL trucking and warehousing business. I think what that has afforded me is I've been on both sides of the fence, if you will. I've been internal and of course seen the machinations of the Port, and so our Port enjoys continuity today. But I've also been a customer, a partner. I have negotiated against the Port over the last 3 years and been dependent on the Port. So I've seen it from multiple angles. I hope that allows me to serve those in this room well. I would further say, if I seem young, you're right. Gil the Cobb Hunter reminded me of that when I first sat down. I appreciate that. I'm here because many of you offered me mentorship, partnership in working on big projects together, and offered friendship. And I learned from many of you, and I carry that with me today. And I'm deeply grateful to the friends out in the audience. Thank you for that mentorship. The last thing I would say about myself is, if I mess up, if I make mistakes, if I do something that just seems crazy, remember, I have a twin brother. He's probably filling in that day. Joking aside, I'm thrilled to be back at the Port. Ashley Eisman said, "There's something great about being a part of something great." And I think that really explains the way that I feel. The Port team, every individual on the Port team is deeply proud of that which they individually contribute, as they should be. However, each individual on the Port team is also deeply proud of the larger purpose that they serve. That we serve the community, the state, the region, is something that motivates all of the Port team. And it's wonderful to be on a team like that. Now, we recognize that we serve a larger purpose. We carry that responsibility with earnestness and sincerity. It is not lost on anyone at the Port that we exist to serve many of you, your businesses, and others who aren't represented here today. If I could, I'd take a moment to thank, number one, first and foremost, our customers. To the cargo owners, to the shipping lines that call our ports. If it were not for you, many of us in this room don't have a purpose, don't have a job. Thank you for entrusting us with your freight. Thank you for bringing your vessels to our port. Thank you very much to our elected officials, and if I may ask those elected officials to stand. We are all grateful to the leadership that you exert, to the support that you have always shown for the Port and for the business community in this state. Thank you. To the many agencies, from Department of Commerce to Palmetto Rail, DOT, and others, thank you for the partnership on solving big infrastructure problems and on generating business together. And to our many business partners, the railroads, Norfolk Southern and CSX, the ILA, the tug operators, and the many folks in the maritime community, it is a pleasure to work with each of you. Thank you for building a strong ecosystem. Last, I'd like to thank our board. Our board recently acted with urgency and made a very bold decision, and that has afforded our port, and hopefully, by extension, many of you, continuity in our business. I would like to personally thank Chairman Bill Stern. I can tell you I was looking at other jobs at the time. I was considering a career change. And Bill, if it weren't for you keeping in touch, giving me an honest assessment of the lay of the land, and continuing to communicate the process, I probably would not be employed here today. Thank you. And last but not least, to the port team, or at least those that are represented here today. We did big things previously. We're going to do big things together again. Thank you for your dedication. Now, I'm only a few weeks on the job, but the team, the port team, accomplished a lot last year. So let's look at what they accomplished. If you look at the investments made in South Carolina, port-dependent investments, this is of course not the total investments, but just those that described a port dependency, $786 million in investment in our state, committed, 1,200 jobs. We are grateful to the many companies, only a couple of which are represented on screen today. Isuzu, bringing $280 million investment and 700 jobs to our state. All the way down to Max Wood Furniture with a $6 million investment and 43 jobs in Marion County. If you look at all of the companies that committed and invested in South Carolina over the course of the last year, they represent, or they have landed in many of the counties in this state. We're deeply grateful for them for their investments and proud that they have selected us. I would equally say there are third-party logistics companies that have committed after long discussions to convince them that our market was worth making an investment in. And we're excited about having new partners with whom to work. Road One, Arcadia Cold, East Coast Warehouse, these were many, many years in the making. They actually predate my leaving the port. We are grateful to you all for making those investments. And in simple terms, as the 3PL industry grows, so too does our freight base. 3PLs bring business that we would not otherwise see in our market. So we're grateful to them for investing. The shipping lines, our carrier customers, offered a tremendous vote of confidence in our business. We went from 25 weekly ship calls to 29. That's an upsize, and we saw upsizing of capacity as well. We are grateful to the carriers who continue to show confidence in our market. We're also excited about some of the growth areas. Since the pandemic, Charleston has been the fastest growing or commanding rather the largest growth percentage on the North Asia trade lane, effectively China. We've seen 9% growth on that trade lane, when the US port industry has done about 5%, and the region negative 2%. So we see some great growth, and to the ocean carrier executives out there, we look forward to more. Our team, our operations team in particular, delivered on a long history of productivity. Efficient terminals have been our calling card for as long as I've been in the industry anyway. We turn trucks quickly, we turn vessels quickly, we get imports to rail in under a day, and we have no vessels waiting at anchor. It's a good thing. Our job is to be a conduit, not an impediment, and we're committed to that with our operational focus. Now let's talk about our results. They were mixed. We returned to growth in our container segment. achieving 2.8% growth, just under 3%. That's a step in the right direction. But you would also note we saw 20%, greater than 20% loss on our finished vehicles rolling stock business. Some of that was self-inflicted, some tariff-related. We do not accept that, and we're going to talk about that. We also saw tremendous growth in Greer, which continues to be the home run that it always was. We see 9.5% growth in that market. And to belabor the point a little bit more, we have seen almost every year since inception continual growth of the inland port in Greer. This is a success story that we are very grateful to hang our hat on. And we appreciate the customers that support us up there and the partnership with Norfolk Southern to originally make this a reality and to keep it a competitive reality. This supply chain works in ways that you typically don't find in our industry. It is both faster and cheaper. Typically, the shippers out there have to make a decision between one or the other. And in Greer, you get both. I would also say we remain committed to delivering infrastructure where it is needed. Our ops and engineering teams navigated a doubling of our footprint, a doubling of our capacity at the Inland Port Greer without impact to our productivity metrics. That is great work. We appreciate that, team. I would also say that this is proof that we will expand to meet the needs of our customer base. We are not shy about investments, but we might tweak a little bit the way in which we make investments. Equally, we delivered a critical infrastructure program, or enhancement, I should say, in the tow wall at the Wando Terminal. This is not some exciting project that you can see, but it assures unfettered access of any size vessel that wants to call the Wando Terminal. It's a commitment that we made long ago to our carrier customers. We will be able to accept the vessels that you wish to deploy on the East Coast. And this is further commitment to that. And again, I would call out our engineering and operations teams who worked incredibly well together to deliver this project, a very, very challenging project with minimal impacts to fluidity. In summary, we saw operations and engineering deliver major projects while maintaining productivity metrics. The team also did the hard work of cutting cost while increasing revenue. That work is never easy in anybody's business, and they did it well. And we continued to deliver on other infrastructure projects. The Navy Base Intermodal Facility, for example, remains under construction, and we will deliver it at the right time. The team achieved a lot. That work set the table for what we have to do next. Now let's also acknowledge what we're up against. The challenges are real. The industry remains in a 3, now turning 4-year-old freight recession. If you're unaware of that, talk to your service providers. Trucking industry, warehousing, the service providers that move your freight have spent the last few years in an environment of overcapacity and not enough cargo. We have seen a race to the bottom on rates and bankruptcies proliferating. The industry is not healthy yet. And we anticipate the next couple of months to be challenging. If you follow the National Retail Federation, they have come out with a forecast that imports into the US, not just Charleston, but imports will be down somewhere between 12 and 15% in December. November doesn't look a whole lot better. So the next couple months are tough. We recognize that. What we see in this industry is that volatility is really the expectation going forward. And that's tough because this industry has seen 6 years, 5.5 years of volatility. There has not been consistency, there has not been a normal year. And those of us in supply chain sometimes scratch our heads, why on earth do we choose this industry? Now, these same challenges face our competitors as well. They are looking at the same issues that we are looking at. And to be clear, we are not satisfied with 3% container growth. We are obviously not satisfied with 21% downturn in our finished vehicle business. We do not accept these results. We have work to do. Fortunately, this is a region where one can engineer above market growth. There is opportunity. We have cause for optimism. And I don't think it's misplaced optimism. If you look at the macro trends affecting our region, the region in which we serve, the Southeast remains the growth area in the US. Consumers are moving here, our population is moving here, which drives consumption. Consumption drives imports. We are beautifully located right in the center of the Southeast to serve this booming area. We are ideally situated. If you zoom down to look at South Carolina in particular, this is a growth market. Companies are investing, as we talked earlier. Companies are investing, they're expanding. We see manufacturing a long-term trend. Manufacturers continue to select the southern states, and in particular South Carolina. Growing population equals growing workforce. Manufacturers investing equals growing exports. This is wind in our sails. And I would tell you, the port is a very attractive place to work. A lot of people want to work at our company. But the last 3 years I've spent on the other side and seen the impacts of other markets where labor force is not readily available. That is the hardest problem to solve in business. You cannot manufacture labor force. And in South Carolina, and specifically in Charleston, we are extremely fortunate for the growth of the labor force. Labor remains plentiful. This gives us great optimism. If you look at Charleston specifically, it is growing by 4 times that of competing ports. We can fill the facilities that shippers elect to put in our state. And then, of course, South Carolina continues to win. Big investments are moving in. Total capital investment announced in 2024 of over $8 billion. The state economic development engine continues to fire. And this is the same across the Southeast. Opportunities, new plants, et cetera, are popping up in Tennessee and North Carolina, et cetera. This gives us great optimism. And then lastly, as we look at our intermodal reach, we're very fortunate that our rail partners, Norfolk Southern and CSX, their current facilities have adequate capacity to handle the current business. And we're under construction on an intermodal facility, the NBIF, that will deliver capacity for our growth aspirations. We have good connectivity regionally, and we aspire to grow it. So we are in a fortunate position. Prior port leadership and elected leaders ensured that our infrastructure is ready. We have the deepest harbor on the East Coast. We have secured our path to 10 million TEUs of capacity in the Charleston Harbor. Our terminal and our terminal investments are largely done. Our intermodal investment is getting close. we are in a very, very good position. On top of that, you saw metrics, and of course you've heard before, our terminals run well. We don't have to worry about operations. And our balance sheet is solid. It's another thing we don't have to worry about. So we're in a good position. Now, you would be right to say, that's table stakes. Of course you have to have a strong balance sheet. Of course you have to run efficient terminals. Of course you have to invest in your infrastructure. And maybe sometimes we get a little long-winded about our infrastructure. Because those things are set, today we enjoy the latitude to focus. On what should we focus? Growth. Mark Cuban said, "Growth cures all." And that is a ridiculously oversimplified concept, elegant in its simplicity. Our business is way too complex for platitudes. But growth is so obviously the critical path item that we commit ourselves to a growth cures all mentality. We have the infrastructure, now we fill it. Generating growth in a very challenging environment, which we talked about previously, necessitates a momentum change. Momentum change requires bold initiatives. Fortunately, we know what it takes. We've done this before. We have surmounted this challenge before. The port spent, Mark Zacconi will correct me on this data point, but the port spent close to a decade as the fastest growing port in the US. We have the muscle memory. We know what's needed to be done. It will take time. For me personally, we're a couple years away from where we are from where we are today to where I would like for us to be. It's a couple years worth of work. But we know exactly what needs to be done. So how will we grow? We will monetize our acreage. I don't mean sell. We're not interested in selling property. But we will use our real estate as an incubator for growth projects. Let me give you an example. We had a major, one of the top, call it top 3 retailers come to us a few years ago and say, hey, we need a transload facility. We need it by peak season. None exist in Charleston, and we need our 3PL partner to be bought in. Oh, and by the way, peak season is in 6 months. There was no solution that the market could offer. It takes more than 6 months just to permit a facility. And so we built what is affectionately called Dockzilla, a semi-temporary transload facility that was the home for that 3PL and that retailer for several years before they moved off terminal to a purpose-built transload facility that is today their home on a long-term contract. We will monetize our real estate as an incubator for growth projects. Our infrastructure investments, our CapEx spend, will be tied exclusively to immediate revenue-generating opportunities. Our long-cycle infrastructure is built. That is not our focus. If it generates immediate revenue, we'll invest. If it doesn't, we'll defer. I think the Greer expansion that we mentioned earlier is a great example of this. You saw the bar chart. The demand was there. Our customers were pushing to ensure that we would deliver the capacity that they needed to continue to grow there. We will make that investment time and again, so long as it is tied to immediate revenue generation. We will use our heft in the market to back momentum-changing projects. whether that is our balance sheet, whether that is operational considerations, special pricing, or whatever it may be. We will back projects that change momentum with partners that have a track record of doing so. We've done this before. Several years ago, we were getting passed up for big retail distribution opportunities because we did not have large enough spec buildings, industrial spec buildings, in our market. So we worked with a real estate developer, a partner, to deliver one. We will make those bets because we know once the first one is delivered, then others will be, which is exactly what was borne out. So we will use our heft to push momentum-changing projects. We will invest in our commercial team to ensure that the targets that we set, the budgets, the volume expectations, are empirically achievable, not hopes and dreams. We will offer white glove, anticipatory service to our top carrier and shipper customers. I think a great example of this was the building of the inland port in Greer. BMW, a long-term partner of ours, socialized a concept of an inland port, saying that it would help their supply chain. And we underwrote it and saw it would help us too. There was an opportunity for growth. And so we delivered one. We will make those bets. We will offer white glove service. We will do so beyond our terminals. We will deliver non-traditional growth initiatives, where in the past we were pretty exclusively focused on container. We recognize a need to do more. We will deliver non-traditional growth initiatives in order to generate outsized cash flow that we will take and reinvest back in to our container segment to ensure that we remain competitive. And we will prioritize immediacy. Immediate opportunities are what we are after. This is a momentum change that we are trying to engineer, or I should say that we will engineer. We will reward early movers, financially, operationally, or whatever moves the needle for your business. We will reward those who move early. Now, I think it's worth noting and going maybe an extra step further and recognizing specifically the shippers in the room. Your business is the lifeblood of all of the service providers here. There's a trucking company, a port, a railroad, a shipping line. The shipping lines don't call here without BCOs, without the shippers, the cargo owners being committed to this market. The railroads don't call terminals that don't have freight. You are the lifeblood of everything that we do. Allow us to prove a true white glove experience extends far beyond our terminals. We will help you solve the issue du jour, whether that is tariff impacts and needing to squirrel away inventory, whether it is cost cutting, whatever your challenge is, please challenge us to help you solve them. Bring us your hardest freight. Bring us your most complex supply chains. Bring us your most demanding needs. We will provide a consultative approach I don't believe you'll find anywhere else. And we know, in particular, shippers make a very personal decision when they select our market. They are choosing us personally because they believe that when issues arise, which they always do in supply chain, that we will be there to help them solve those issues, that we will collaborate and brainstorm, that we will support them in their times of need. Shippers are choosing us. We choose to serve. Also want to recognize we make the market. The port makes the market. That's a responsibility that we have. If we generate growth, then the trucking companies, the railroads, warehouse providers, etc., enjoy a rising tide theory. If we don't generate growth, then the service providers in this market see a race to the bottom on rates that is really healthy for no one. We care deeply about that responsibility. We know that many of you depend on it. We commit to make the market. We do need your help. We need your help to do so. So please join us in that commitment. We are after above market growth, nothing else. Now, we will err. We will make mistakes. We will not always get it right. But we commit to share with you in a very transparent manner when we do err, when we do get our analyses wrong. We will share both what went wrong as well as what we are doing to pivot. We will always have a plan, and we will always share openly where we have to pivot. You know, ultimately, the port is intended to be a force of good. You know this, you've heard these stats. The port supports 1 in 9 jobs in South Carolina. Economic opportunity is created by the business that we in this room do together. It's personal too, though. There's a small warehousing provider in the midst today, husband and wife duo. When we generate growth, they see more opportunities for their warehouse to be full. And they go home at night knowing that there's a path to paying for their son's college tuition. There's a truck driver here today who takes that last trip over 526 to drop one more container to pay for his daughter's gymnastics classes. His daughters love gymnastics. There's a soybean farmer who, after planting her crop and after the closure of a crush facility in Kershaw, thought there might not be an end market for her beans. Due to the work of several partners in this room, an export market was created, and she sleeps good at night. She sleeps well, knowing that she's not sitting on a failed crop. The things we do matter. And to the extent that you are sitting in this room, you have some vested interest in the success of this industry, and by default, those families. The port serves or seeks to serve the many stakeholders, as well as their families. The families that depend on us to take intelligent risk to drive growth. We give of ourselves for the betterment of this community. The port team gives of itself for the betterment of this community. So let's focus on growth together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Micah.
Thanks, sir.
I hope everybody enjoyed that. I know I learned a lot, and I appreciate everything that our port does. It never gets old to look out over the water and see those huge ships coming into our great state. In closing, I'd like to thank everyone in this room for your continued contribution, from the longshoreman on the terminal, to the rail engineer, to the truck driver, to the carrier executive, to the state and local officials who understand the significance of the port to South Carolina's economy. It truly takes a team to keep this port and our state moving forward. Thank you all, and we'll see you at next year's State of the Port.